I had devoted 15 years of my life to Stratastech, where I had poured my blood, sweat, and sleepless nights into creating something significant. I began as a motivated young analyst, advancing in my career while foregoing weekends, birthdays, and even holidays. Wanting to guarantee the company's prosperity, I had faith in its purpose and the individuals within it. I had always preached teamwork and trust, but here I was, sitting in a chilly, impersonal conference room. The antiseptic fluorescent lighting cast a ghostly hue over the polished wood. The business language posters on the wall seemed to mock me. My wife, Issa, sat with a rigid stance, her confident demeanor making my stomach turn. Derek, the man I had once supervised as a junior analyst, stood next to her, grinning triumphantly as he fumbled through spreadsheets. I should have seen this coming. Issa folded her arms, tapping her forearm with her immaculately manicured fingernails. "After 15 years, we're reorganizing your role, Liam," she said smoothly. "My boyfriend will take over now." My stomach twisted. My wife referred to Derek, the man I had trained, as her boyfriend. He announced my termination from the company I had helped build. I looked at Issa, allowing her words to settle. She wanted me to get upset, to demand an explanation, to plead for my job, or maybe even our marriage. Instead, I folded my hands, on the table, leaned back in my chair, and let a slow, deliberate smile creep across my face. Derek slid a manila folder toward me. I didn't need to open it to know what it contained. A severance package, HR-approved paperwork, career tools, as if I were some fresh-faced college intern. Given a deadline of Friday to clear my desk, I picked up the folder, casually flipped it open, and scanned the words without reading them. My fingertips traced the thick paper as my thoughts raced. Issa smirked while Derek shuffled uneasily, but I caught the flicker of apprehension in his eyes. They expected anger. They expected a scene. So I waited before speaking, watching as their relief flickered across their faces like a dimming light bulb. They thought they had won. The conference room door clicked softly behind me, more like a rifle cocking than an office door shutting. As I walked down the glass-lined corridor, my reflection mirrored my placid facade, concealing the storm raging within. My coworkers offered casual nods, unaware of the betrayal that had just unfolded. My office was no longer my office. I had 3 days left here. I stepped inside, shut the door, and let out a slow breath. I scanned the room, 15 years of memories flashing before my eyes. The framed team awards, stacks of notebooks filled with ideas. What a joke. Issa had enjoyed the luxury my work had provided, yet she had been treating me like a fool. God knows how long she and Derek had been plotting this. I picked up a small picture frame from my desk, an old photo of Issa and me at a work retreat. We had been happy, or at least I had been. As I searched her smile for the cracks I had once overlooked, a tightness gripped my chest. But I resisted. This wasn't a loss. This was the beginning of a much more complex game. I grabbed my phone, scrolling through my contacts until I found the name, Jonas Caldwell, CEO of Titan Dynamics, Stratastech's biggest rival. I pressed the call button. My heartbeat remained steady. "Liam," Jonas greeted. "I was hoping you'd call." Hours later, I sat in Marcel's Steakhouse, a dimly lit sanctuary for the wealthy to sip whiskey and make power plays. The air carried the aroma of sizzling steak, aged bourbon, and high-stakes negotiations. Jonas sat across from me, swirling his drink, a slow grin spreading across his face. "They really thought they could just kick you out and steal your work," he mused. I traced the rim of my whiskey glass. "They've been planning it for months. Issa and Derek. They thought they could push me out, take my system, and replace me." Jonas leaned forward, eyes gleaming. "But they never filed the patent on your predictive analytics methodology, did they?" A slow, calculated smile formed on my lips. "No, they didn't." I reached into my briefcase, pulling out a thick folder. My original notes, documentation, and a fully prepared patent application. Filed under my name, not Stratastech's. I slid it across the table. Titan Dynamics could own the sole rights to it, I said smoothly. Jonas lifted an eyebrow. And what do you want in return? I leaned in. I want a job, Jonas. But more than that, I want revenge. I want Stratastech to burn for this betrayal. I want Issa and Derek to feel the ground crumble beneath them on Monday morning. Jonas chuckled, flipping through the documents. You know, Liam, I like the way you think. He slid a contract toward me. 7-figure signing bonus. Full control over my technology. A senior leadership position. I raised the pen. Derek thought he had won. I signed the contract. Monday would be a day he'd never forget. The demise of Dirk at Strat's Monday morning leadership meeting. Drick was collapsing in real time as EAW attempted to contain the damage. Executives had nothing to offer the board at the meeting. The system he had promised was no longer there. They demanded explanations and answers. By midday, Derek was clearly struggling. I saw him standing in that conference room, sweating through his expensive outfit, frantically searching for solutions that he didn't have. He had staked his entire future on a stolen concept that had never truly been his. At 4 p.m., the legal team for Stratotech finally took action in response to the lawsuit threat. After hearing Titan Dynamics' lawyer threaten legal action, Jonas took matters into his own hands. He only said, "Let them try. They have no claim. No patent, no contract." By the time the call ended, their attorney's voice was shaking. Stratotech was out of moves. Stratotech started its fatal spiral. Tech's stock fell 15% by the end of business, and customers demanded refunds. Investors withdrew. By Friday evening, the board had finally identified the cause of this catastrophe. At 6 p.m., Derek would be unemployed. In a desperate attempt, my phone buzzed once more. "Please, Isla. Liam, let's figure something out." I gazed at the message. She was hovering over the screen, attempting to save what was left, haggling, trying to undo what was impossible. I typed the word no, locked my phone, and inhaled deeply. The inevitable occurred. By Tuesday morning, Stratotech was in freefall, and victory tasted sweet. As news of my leaving spread, senior executives were in full-blown panic mode. Investors began demanding answers. Titan Dynamics' purchase of my system became widely known in the tech sector, with ISW at its core. At 10:30 a.m., Derek was delving further into the catastrophe they had caused. A frantic meeting took place in Strat's glass-walled boardroom. Derek, the company's alleged future, was seated at an emergency meeting. The head of the table was flipping through reports quickly. His once arrogant stance had become tense, his forehead moist. Isla sat next to him, arms folded, cold perspiration on her face. Across from them, Stratotech's CEO, Victor Langston, straightened his shoulders. His voice was sharp as a blade. "Let me get this straight," he said. "The individual who developed our critical invention was fired by you two, but you failed to file the patent. Now Titan Dynamics owns it completely?" Silence filled the room. One of the financial directors cleared his throat. "Don't! Just don't! Our stock value has dropped by an extra $125 million this morning," he continued. "Clients are terminating. Contracts eliminating our predictive analytics business." Victor rubbed his temples, jaw tightening. "Derek, you're telling me there's nothing we can do to recover this system?" Derek swallowed hard. We could attempt to bargain with Liam. Maybe there's a way." Victor's head snapped up. He laughed cruelly. "Negotiate? You stabbed him. In the back, humiliated him, and now you expect him to hand over his life's work over coffee?" Derek had no answer. The weight of their miscalculation was sinking in. At 11 a.m., I sat in my sleek new office at Titan Dynamics in East LA's Playa district. As I sipped my coffee, my phone buzzed. "Please, we need to talk." I put the phone down and grinned. She was no longer smug. The woman who had dismissed me was now clinging to a lifeline in a sea of chaos. 10 minutes passed. Another message. I know things got out of control, but you can't really want Stratotech to fail. Think of all the people who will be hurt if this continues. No regret, no apology, just a guilt trip, a last-ditch effort to hold me responsible for her failure. I shook my head. She was mistaken to think I was still the loyal, faithful employee who would clean up her mess. I typed my response. Issa, you made your decision. By lunchtime, the attorneys became engaged. Titan Dynamics received a formal letter from Stratotech's legal team, filled with baseless threats over intellectual property rights they didn't actually own. My manager read through the legalese, scoffed, and tossed the papers onto his desk. This is adorable, he said, leaning back in his chair. Let them try. We have the patent, the resignations, and the contracts. They were panicking. I laughed, sipping my coffee. Jonas smiled. Good. Let them. Within an hour, Titan Dynamics made a public statement. We confirmed our exclusive rights to the predictive analytics technology. At 2 p.m., Stratotech's stock took another dive. By mid-afternoon, internal collapse was imminent. Board members were furious. Executives questioned EAW and Derek's leadership. In the main conference room, the financial losses mounted by the minute. Derek stared blankly at his laptop screen. Isla slumped forward, head in hands, their perfect plan reduced to rubble.